To learn about the off-grid lifestyle and to be inspired to live your dreams, click subscribe so you don't miss anything. Hit the bell notification. So I'm back at the tiny house build again today, and I thought I'd start off by starting the wood stove. It's a little chilly. It's well, I don't understand it. It's only 30 degrees. It's not that terribly cold. It's supposed to warm up today. It's supposed to get up in the 50s, but it was just downright chilly. Maybe I'm just not used to it fully yet. So today I'm going to continue putting the metal roof on. I got 2 more panels. Shouldn't take very long at all to get that done. Once that's done, then I'm going to start hanging the gable rake, which may take me a while because I got to get up there and put the gable rake on. And I'm also going to install what's kind of like a fascia trim underneath the gable rake. With it being so high and the roof being so slick, this could be a little bit time consuming. Once that's done, then I'm going to take my temporary ridge cap off. That's just temporary, and I'm going to install the permanent one. I put that one there. That's just an extra piece that I bought. It's the wrong size, but I thought it'd be good to keep the rain off until I can get the one that's supposed to be on there. Take the tarp off. Got 2 more panels, then I'll be done, and then I can start on the walls. And I've really been thinking about the walls and the J channels on the windows and how all that's going to work. So I'm pretty excited about getting that done. Sure does look pretty if you can just use your imagination. That brown and tan. And then if you think about, okay, it's going to be brown and tan on the walls also, just like the roof. I think it's just really pretty. I'm thinking about calling this a caboose. It's small, like a caboose on a train, and now it's got the chimney. It looks like a caboose. So I might call it a caboose. All right, so I'm going to get started installing the metal roof. So my ladder isn't tall enough to reach the peak of the house. So I had to devise a system so I could make that work. So I put the ladder in the back of the truck. Then you put a jack underneath the frame of the truck, kind of get it off the leaf spring a little bit so it's not so bouncy. Now I can get up there. The ladder just isn't tall enough for this house, and I'm not gonna go out and spend a bunch of money just for that one little spot. I only got 1 more panel to go. Of course, I got to continue screwing this one in. I've got 2 rows screwed in right now. So you should be able to see here that I got a screw on each side of the hump. Whoops, I missed one. But I'm supposed to have one on each side on the bottom and top row. But then you'll see that on this next row, I don't have a screw on each side. I only have one on one side of the hump here. Now you're supposed to do that on all sections except the bottom and the top. The bottom and the top is supposed to have one on each side of the hump. And the reason you do that is so when the wind picks up, you know, you get 60, 70 mile an hour winds, it has more strength where the wind is actually going to be trying to lift it right here on the edges. Everything else just kind of secures it down so it doesn't move around, bounce up and down. This just holds it down in the center, but this keeps it from actually ripping up. Now you'll see that I spread out my boards here every 2 feet. These boards are what I'm screwing the metal roof into. Now you can also do that underneath inside the house, but that's a lot more cutting because you have to cut each board in between each truss or raft or whatever you're using. It was just easier for me to do it this way, being one person. So I'm going to get up here and do the rest of these screws. Now, I've been using a bath mat with the little suction cups underneath it, and it works really well. Now, I don't know how well it's going to work on this wet roof. I suspect it's going to work even better because it's a bath mat. It's supposed to work in water. But I'm going to test it before I actually get on to the last one, because once I'm on the last one, I have nothing I can rely on. Here I can get on this board and test it to make sure it's going to work. But once that board's covered up, that's all I got is the bath mat. I am going to throw a strap around this tree on the other side. You might see that tree. I'm going to throw a strap over there just for extra security. Okay, so all the panels are up, all 12 of them. And as I expected, this last panel was an absolute nightmare. The bath mat probably worked the best, but it didn't work when the panels were wet. So I took a towel before I put this one up and dried it off. And by the time it got up here, it was in pretty good shape. The straps that I was using had me highly concerned. I threw a towel up over the top there so the strap wouldn't rub against the metal and fray. Well, the towel fell, so the strap was getting cut by the metal, which concerned me. So I took another piece of strap and I tied it off so it wouldn't rub so bad. Well, when I was doing that, I dropped the strap, so it fell down over there. So that meant the only thing I had was the 2 bath mats to get back down with, and I dropped one. So it was absolutely nightmare scary. But I got it on. Now the big deal is I got to get the gable rake, and then of course I'm going to put a piece of fascia trim here too. The manufacturer doesn't have anything to suggest how to do that, so but that's okay. I'll just put something up there. I just want to keep it covered. So I'll put a gable rake on, then I got to put the ridge cap on, which means I got to get back up on the roof to do that. That's not anything I'm looking forward to. I'm sorry I couldn't film any of it, but it was just impossible. It was hard enough to just use the drill to get the screws in. The bath mat worked great as long as you could put all your weight on it. But when you push down to use the screw, you would, of course, put some of the weight onto the screw, which would loosen your grip on the bath mat. It's difficult. Now, the thing I got to remember is every year I got to clean the chimney, which means I got to get up on the roof to clean the chimney. I got to figure out a better system. I'm trying to figure out how I can lay the ladder up here. We did that at Dad's. We laid the ladder up, but he had scaffolding. And I just don't want to spend the money on scaffolding. So I got to figure out if I could lay the ladder up here and somehow lock it in place, maybe with straps or something. Oh, that's an idea. I just thought of it. Put a strap over there on the other side, tie the strap to the ladder. That's an idea. I might have to work on how to do that. So thanks for helping me out. So now I'm going to start working on the trim. Okay, so I'm at the gable end of the house, where the peak is. And so I use the eave trim. Now the eave trim goes on the overhang, over in the front of the house, on the side of the house. So I use the eave trim to make a fascia plate. They make a fascia plate, but see, there's nothing designed to do this side of the house that I could find. I couldn't even find YouTube videos on it. So I used the eave trim that's supposed to go over there. So I bought extra pieces, and I'm telling you, this worked out fantastic. So now what I got to do is I got to put the gable rake, which is on the ground over there with the tape measure in it. Don't know if you can see it right in front of the truck. The gable rake will come from here down. This keeps the whole 2x4 protected now. I got this cut. Of course, I have to silicone it according to some of the instructions I've read or watched. The gable rake will cover most of this, and then you'll screw into the gable rake, which will hold this. I just got a couple nails in it temporarily. So this is the gable rake I was telling you about, and you're supposed to buy tape, another piece, and tape this. Well, I had some of this spongy foam left over. Another example of not knowing exactly what I was supposed to buy, and I bought the wrong stuff and ended up having to buy something else. So I bought too much of this, but that's going to work out well here. I can cut these little humps off like I have right here, and that'll seal down quite nicely, and I don't have to go buy the tape. Okay, so now I have what I'm calling the fascia trim, which it doesn't have a name, so it's pointless, and the gable rake. I went from the bottom up, and then the gable rake comes from the top down. This way, the entire 2x4 is being covered. That way you don't have to paint it or anything, it's maintenance free. I'm very proud of how well that turned out. So now I'll show you the top. So this is the roof, and so now the gable rake goes all the way to the top, like that. And then we'll put the ridge cap on, hopefully tomorrow or Sunday. This is Friday. So I still got to put a few screws in there, but I want to get the truck out of the way first. So I'm going to put the ridge cap on, then I can move the truck out of the way, and then I can finish up putting on screws. I'll tell you, it's been a rough few days being up on this roof. I'm just not as limber as I used to be, and up and down the ladder, and That's just a lot of work doing it by yourself, a lot of work, time consuming. And then you'll forget something. And then I was stuck on the roof. I had to really try to figure out how to get down once I lost my bath mat and my strap. I just can't tell you, I keep telling you this, how much pride you feel every day coming up here and working just a few hours. And then Carolyn comes up here too, and she's just making a lot of progress. I'll try not to get her in the camera. She's not a big camera friendly person. She doesn't like the camera, so. And that stove is still on fire. It's down to embers, but that's just awesome. So she got this wall finished. So this entire wall is completed now. It's amazing what you can do when you do it by yourself and you just keep at it and be determined. I hope I can inspire you to do something creative every day. Thanks for watching.